So on today's video, we're going to be showing you guys at home how we install downlights.
Except the difference is there's no access above this ceiling. So we're going to be showing you how we do it all from underneath.
So your first job when installing downlights, you're going to need to locate the joists. And how you do that, you're going to use a stud finder and we're going to place it on our ceiling, turn it on, select wood, and then we slowly work it away across our ceiling until the indicator shows us where the stud is. And we need to get a high reading to make sure that we're at the centre of our joists. And we're just going to do that the whole way across the ceiling. And this helps when installing downlights not to hit these sections of wood.
There is another method if you haven't got a stud finder, and that is a super strong magnet like this one here. And all we do is we slide it around the ceiling and you'll just feel it grab, and that is where our joists are. So there's another little tip to find your joists. Right now, so one side of your room should look like this. So you should have marks where all of your joists are. And what we need to do from this point now is go on to the other side and repeat that. So a method you can use, if you come off an existing wall like this, we take our measurement and then we transfer our measurement to the opposite side of the room, put ourselves a mark, and then we can double check with our magnet or our stud finder to make sure that we're definitely on it, which we are. And this now gives us the line that our joist takes, and we need to avoid that when we're putting in our downlights. Right, so now that we know where we can't put our downlights, we're going to measure out from the walls and place our downlights where we want them. So you need to decide how many you want and where you want them. We're going to have 4 in this little corner here. So we're going to be measuring off our 2 walls to keep the lights nice and straight. And then we're going to mark our ceilings where we want them. And then we'll show you the next step. So that's our ceiling all marked up. So we've got a little cross in each position of the downlights. So now we can get our cutter, our hole saw, and get these cut out. Right, so cutting your holes for your downlights, we're obviously going to need some downlights. So we're using Quickwire's downlights. And if you look on the box, so there's their downlight. If we look on the box or whatever downlight you're using, it will tell you the size of the light and it will tell you the cutout. So we've got a 70mm. So we've gone and got ourselves a 70mm hole saw, and we've also got this little condom. And what that's going to do is stop all the dust going into your face as you drill the ceiling. So we're going to start drilling now, and then we'll show you how to wire these up without damaging the ceiling. And obviously before we drill above our heads, we're going to chuck ourselves some specs on. Got our drill. Now one thing to note, if you've got an Artex ceiling, get that tested for asbestos. Obviously we haven't, we've got a nice smooth ceiling so we're all good, but there could be a chance of asbestos. So we're going to put our pilot bit on the centre of our cross, and then we let the dust catcher seal against the ceiling. And a little tip, as soon as we start, we then run it in reverse, and what that does is just give us a little bit less chance of doing any damage to anything that may be in the ceiling. And there's our little piece, and as you can see, well worth purchasing these. So our holes are now cut, and what we're trying to attempt here is to get our cables through the joist without creating any more damage to the ceiling. So what we've got is a flexi bit that goes in our combi drill and a spade bit. So we're going to put those together and chuck that in our drill. So if our joist is here, we're going to be using this to go up and through. And then we're going to do the same from the opposite one. So we'll feed that up until we hit our joist. And then we'll start drilling. There we go, we're through. So I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite one. And that is going to give us a cable run to get across. And then we can start pulling our cables in. So to get our cables through, we're going to be using a couple of methods. So to get through our joist, we're going to be using some rods. And they're just these nylon rods. And you can link more on if you need longer. So I'm just going to fish this through. This might take a little bit of time, you just got to feel it through and get it through. And then once we're through, we can pull our first cable. And that is our cable run made. So we can attach our cable onto the end of our rod and we'll pull it back and that'll be our first piece of cable in. So let's get a bit of cable on the end. So to get our cable through, we're going to be putting a little adapter on the end of our rod, like so. And that's got a little eyelet in it. And we're going to be using 1.5mm cable. You can use 1mm, but the rest of the house is in 1.5. So we're just going to stick to what's already here. We're going to strip our sheathing off, our outer casing. And then we'll cut the other two off. And all we need is our CPC. And then we're just going to be putting that through there. Wrap it over and we're just going to twist it round so it can't come off. And then we'll chuck some electrical tape on that. Because we don't want to lose it in the ceiling. So we'll just tape this up, stop it getting caught, and then we can just pull this through. Making sure we don't get caught. And that is our first run in, and then we can just snip that off. Ready for our next one. So that's our first cable in. The next cable we need is from here to here, and we're going to have one from here to there. All these cables are off. Remember, these are all dead. We've not touched any power yet. We're going to run all of our cables first, and basically what we need is a daisy chain of cable between our LEDs. Remember, we've got to get the power from the original over to the closest spotlight. So the way we're going to run this cable in is we're going to be using this magnet, and we can pull it along because there's no joists in this direction. So we can just slide this up into our ceiling, put our magnet on, and then we're just going to drag it across to the other side. This is a much easier one, but obviously you can't have it all. So we'll get this cable pulled in, and just like the rods, we're going to be taping our cable, but this time obviously to our little bit of string here, making sure it's nice and tight. And then we're just going to pull this all the way through, like that. Cut this off. So we've got one last cable, and that is getting the power to our first spotlight. So as you can see, the power's on at the moment, so we need to isolate this, get it all safe to work on. So we're going to isolate that now, and then we can remove this light fitting and extend the cable. We'll show you that right now. So we've been to our consumer unit, we've isolated the light, so it's now safe to work on. So we'll get this pulled off, and then we can extend this cable over to our first spotlight. Right, so now that our light's removed, we'll get our last run in, which is going to be going across to our first spotlight. Right, so now all of our cables are in position. Our first job is to extend the power that we've got here over to here. So we need to connect these two cables together. This is like a 2-plate style, so all we've got up here is power. There's no switch line, there's nothing. If you have got a 3-plate up here, Quickwire, which is what we're going to be using, offer 2 styles. So we're going to be using the splitter, which just joins the cables together, which I'll show you that in a second. But if you have got a switch line up here, they also do a switch and load. So you can put your switch line in, your load, which is like your downlights or your light, and then your power in and out. And we'll show you these in action right now. So to join these, I'm just going to get my side cutters, cut that nice and square. Cut the one I'm joining to nice and square, and then we take the Quickwire strippers and we send it down to the line which is marked on the side, which I'll show you. So if you look on the side, it's got a little line there, tells you how deep to go with the cable, and then we go back up to the teeth, pull it again, and that is it ready. And we'll do the other one. There's nothing as quick as this. Now, this obviously has 4 ways, we only need 2, so we'll just click these in for now. So all you do, we take our cable, make sure they're around the right way, so we've got our live CPC neutral, push it all the way down, and then you wait for the click, And that's in there nice and tight. Turn it round. Same thing with our other cable. Slide it in. Make sure that's all the way in. Click. And that is in there. No sleeving needed for your CPCs. And it's a maintenance-free connection, so we can just tuck that up in the top. And that's fine to sit up there. Quickwire product again. So these are the same thing as the connectors that we've just used over there. So when you buy their downlights, they come pre-wired with a plug. So you can put this down in a box somewhere, and we're going to go around and wire all our plugs up, and then these get attached later on. But if you don't want to use their downlights, they also sell the T-connectors by theirself. So you go around, put all your plugs in. This wires up to the downlights you've chosen, any brand, doesn't matter. And then you can come round and you can just plug them in. And then you could just plug in your downlights, whatever you've chosen. But obviously we're going to be using these. So we're going to take our T-connector plug out of the box, put our lamp down, and then this piece is going to go on here. So super quick process. Down to our line, pull it, get rid of the waste, back up to our line, pull it again. Same with the other one. Down to our line, pull it, get rid of it, back up, pull it again. Take our plug, make sure it's round the correct way. Slide it in. Push it down. Get the click, spin it around, neutral live, CPC, click, and that is one ready to go. So we're going to go around, get the rest on, and I'll show you the next step to get these in. Super simple. So as you can see, all of our plugs are in. So if you're getting the decorators in, now's your time, because the wiring's done, you ain't got to worry about it. You can do that without getting any paint over your downlights. Simple, grab your other end, click it in. That is it. Feed your plug up and out of the way. And then we can put our downlight in. The old death springs, don't hit your fingers with these. Youch! That's it, all four are in. I want to say a massive thank you to Quickwire for supplying the downlights and their connectors for this video. And while we're talking about Quickwire products, I want to show you this little feature. So we've installed the white bezels, but if we give these a little twist, they are removable, and we can change that for any colour they've got. So they've got black, chrome and brushed. And another feature, if we open the bezel and remove this little rubber strip, we can actually change these from 3000K to 4000K depending on the mood you're in. So that's it, all done, and as you can see, minimal damage done to the ceiling. We didn't have to go up on top. And just remember, go check out Quickwire. They are a UK company, everything's made over here, so that's super good. You've got to support the UK companies, and we'll see you on the next one.